Should you buy a Glowforge? In this video, I'm gonna walk you through our experience with our Glowforge over the last 2 years and give you our pros and cons of the Glowforge versus some other brands like Omtech and Thunder. But before we get to that part of the video, I'm gonna ask you a few other questions that can help you make a general assessment of whether you should buy a Glowforge or not. All right, so question 1, do you want a hobby? And question 2, do you want a side hustle? And question number 3, do you want a business that you can grow and scale? So in short, if you said yes to wanting a hobby, sure, the Glowforge is great if you want a hobby. And if you said yes to a side hustle, maybe. And if you want to start growing a business, probably not. 2 years ago, we started with a Glowforge. We didn't even know that lasers really existed before this. We saw it online like a lot of people are, and maybe why you're watching this video now, and we thought it looks really cool. And it is. And guess what? We made a lot of money, relatively speaking, with it. And while we're on that topic, be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our video about how we made $10,000 in revenue our very first month of owning our Glowforge, when we didn't even know that a laser existed a few weeks before that. Okay, so let me explain myself about the hobby, side hustle, and business. First off, can you make money with your Glowforge? Absolutely. When we first got our Glowforge, my wife and I were both working full-time jobs at our university here in town, and we were running the Glowforge in the evenings, making great side money. And of course, like all Glowforge owners, we have an affiliate link with them that they give you when you buy. So if after this video you do want to buy a Glowforge, hit the link in the description and buy through that link to help support this channel. So let's talk through a few basic pros and cons. So pro number 1, it's really easy to get started with. The very first night that we opened our Glowforge, we had it up and running, I guess, in under an hour, and we printed our first product. I didn't realize how little I knew about running a laser after I had been making money on it until I swapped to a bigger laser. Glowforge makes it so easy to jump in completely blind and put out products relatively easy that are good quality. Another pro, everything's included. When you open the box, you have everything you need to get started. There's upgrades, I'm sure, but as far as basically getting going, there is very little to even put together. Basically, you take the thing out, plug it up, sync it up with your Wi-Fi, and it's good to go. Overall, in my opinion and my experience with the Glowforge, most of the pros that I see in this machine, I attribute to that it's so easy to get started on. I gave you some general pros of it, but I have a lot of specific cons. So first, the thing is expensive. And at the time of filming this video, the Glowforge Pro, which is what we have, is $6,995. That's a lot of money. Granted, everything's in the box, so you're not having to make purchases on top of this necessarily, but that's expensive. So you're gonna pay a lot up front on the Glowforge, but you shouldn't have to go upgrading many things afterwards. And in my opinion, that's a lot of money even still for what you get. If I quickly jump over here to the Omtech website, I don't know much about the new Omtech Polar that's their 50-watt competitor to the Glowforge, but looking at it here, assuming that we don't have to make many upgrades on top of this, the Omtech Polar clocks in at $2,899. Rounding off some, say half the price, but it's actually less than half the price. Another con for the Glowforge, it is slow as heck. Again, looking at the Polar from Omtech, it says here that it has a top engraving speed of up to 600 millimeters a second. I don't know what the Glowforge speed actually is, but it's gotta be slower than that. I know for us, once we upgraded to our Omtech, which I'll get to in a minute, the biggest thing that we noticed was speed. Another con, the software isn't native to your computer, meaning that you have to have internet to be able to run the machine. Now, that's also me assuming that that hasn't been updated since we've used our Glowforge. In fairness, ours has sat on a shelf for quite some time now. Another con, maintenance on the Glowforge is an absolute headache. If you want to clean the lens or clean the air assist fan, you're basically performing surgery on the machine. To just clean certain parts of the laser, you have to take the laser head all the way off the track. And to do that, it's a lot of steps, and it just makes cleaning the thing a headache. Okay, so there's some general pros and cons of the Glowforge, but now I want to tell you about our experience with it and how we upgraded to other machines that made sense for our business as we've grown. So we started with the Glowforge. We were literally running the thing out of a bathroom in our house because it was too cold to run in our garage. It was the only place we could vent out of a window, and it also just not be an eyesore in our living room. So once we realized that sales were becoming more consistent and we knew that we could drastically cut down our time on the machine, we decided to go with the Omtech. So we went from the Glowforge Pro and we jumped all the way up to a 100 watt Omtech. And at the time that we bought our Omtech all in, it was about $5,000 for a 100 watt machine with a 20 inch by 28 inch working area. So basically for less than the price of our Glowforge, we were able to cut thicker material. We were able to work over twice as fast with twice the working area on the machine. Now, caveats there. Why am I not immediately recommending the Omtech to beginners? That thing's a headache. I love our Omtech. It's been great. It has served us so well. We have 2 of them now. But if I had started on an Omtech versus the Glowforge, I would have given up. Remember how I said the Glowforge was up and running in under an hour? It took days to get our Omtech set up. So unlike the Glowforge, when you get the Omtech out of the box, I think to get the best quality cuts out of the machine, you need to do some upgrades. So rather than opening a box and having a machine that was up and running in under an hour, suddenly it took me days to even get the thing ready to run, and then I had to learn how to use Lightburn. So the short story there, if you're starting out, the Glowforge is great if you don't want to have to do a deep dive into the world of lasers. But if you want a machine that's going to cut thicker material, go a lot faster, have more working area, then I would highly suggest looking into Omtech. You can get a lot more machine for a lot cheaper. So if you're curious to see what machines we actually do run, we graduated from the Omtech that we really enjoyed at the time, but it definitely did not keep up with what we needed. I have our full setups listed in the description, and full disclaimer, some of those are affiliate links. So if you purchase any of those parts or machines, a small part of your purchase will go back to support this channel at no additional cost to you. All right, so let's wrap this whole thing up. Do I think people should buy the Glowforge? Yes. I don't think that everyone should. I think if you want to jump in and stay on the surface level of the laser world and you don't care about the ins and outs of the machine, you just want a simple interface that you can put some materials in and then press go and wait a little while, then sure, the Glowforge is for you. If you want to go headfirst into the laser world and start scaling, I say absolutely not. With the caveat that you're willing to put in the time to work on a machine and learn to use much more in-depth software. So if you are gonna get started on your laser journey, we do have a gift for you. Hit the link in the description to download our materials checklist, where we're gonna show you where we buy all of our materials if we're buying from a more commercial place. We've since started buying from some more local lumber yards, but when we were getting started, we had no idea where to buy the materials that we wanted. And so these are the places that we've found over time that are really good, solid places to buy from, where we're gonna get good materials. So these are the places that no matter where you're located in at least the continental US, you should be able to buy these materials and get started with your laser. We wanna save you the headache that we went through where we were just testing random materials, but these are the things that we've found work best. Many of these materials we still use daily. Hit the link and get that materials checklist and maybe save yourself some headache. All right, so wrapping it up. Should you buy the Glowforge? Maybe. We started on the Glowforge and we graduated to Omtech and then graduated again to Thunder. And we're gonna cover those machines in a later video. So again, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss those. But today we're talking about the Glowforge. And I say, if you want a hobby, go for it. If you want a side hustle, maybe. And if you really wanna grow a business, no. So after all that, if I've convinced you one way or another, and you are gonna go with the Glowforge, it'd mean a lot if you use the link in the description to go back and support this channel. So thanks for joining us. Subscribe to the Maker Co channel for more videos just like this, and we'll see you guys in the next one.